Please don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. The house felt too quiet after James passed away. Every tick of the clock sounded like a reminder that he was gone forever. I had lived in that large suburban house for more than 15 years, raising our only son, Evan, and creating a life full of routines, holiday meals, and movie nights cuddled under the same blanket. Now the walls felt unfamiliar. The silence was hard to bear. Evan had just turned 22. He had always been a kind-hearted boy, gentle, thoughtful, and more emotionally aware than most boys his age. After James passed, Evan paused his own life. He delayed his final year of college just to stay with me. At first I told him not to, but deep down I needed him. Maybe more than I was willing to admit. "Mom," he said softly one evening, walking into the kitchen while I stood at the sink. I was washing a plate. Not because it was dirty, but because the movement felt better than facing the stillness. "Yes, sweetheart," I replied, drying my hands with a towel. He looked nervous. His blue eyes, so much like his father's, looked down at the floor. Before meeting mine, "Can we talk about something?" he asked. "Of course," I said, motioning toward the kitchen table. He paused, then pulled out the chair beside me. The warm kitchen light gently lit up his face. He had grown so much, taller than James ever was. But he still had that youthful softness that made me want to hug him and never let go. "It's about Dad," he started, his voice heavy. I reached for his hand instinctively. "I miss him too, Evan. But I feel this isn't just about him," I said. He nodded, voice quiet. "It's about us. You and me." The way he said it made me stop. "What about us?" I asked. He took a deep breath and leaned in. His words barely a whisper. "I've been feeling something. And I know I shouldn't, but I can't stop it. You've been so strong, and so beautiful through everything, Mom. I find myself wanting to protect you, not just as your son." My breath caught in my throat. A strange and still silence filled the space between us. "What are you saying, Evan?" "I don't want to make you uncomfortable," he said quickly, his face filled with shame. "But I see how lonely you are. Feel it too. I miss Dad every day. But he's not coming back. And you're still young. Still beautiful. I know someone will see that in you soon. And I guess I just..." He stopped, as if afraid of finishing the thought. My heart was beating fast. I wasn't sure what shocked me more, his honesty, or the deep, unfiltered emotion in his eyes. "Evan, you're my son," I said quietly, not sure if I was reminding him or myself. "I know," he replied, still looking into my eyes. "I'm not saying anything strange. But haven't you felt it? The tension. The way we've been looking at each other lately." I swallowed hard. I had felt it. Small moments, like his hand staying on mine. A little too long when helping me off the couch. The silent glances we shared in the hallway. The comfort in his hugs that felt deeper than just shared sadness. "I shouldn't have said anything," he muttered, quickly standing up. "Wait," I said, gently touching his arm. "Sit down." He slowly sat back in the chair. "We've both been through a lot," I said quietly. "Losing James shook everything in our lives. It's normal to feel more connected. Maybe even confused." I wasn't sure if I was trying to reassure him or myself. He leaned forward again, this time placing his hand on mine. "I'm not confused," he said softly. "I'm not saying it's right. I just want you to know, you're not alone. In any way." That night I couldn't sleep. My thoughts drifted between old memories and unfamiliar feelings. I missed James. But I also couldn't ignore that Evan had grown into someone strong, caring, and emotionally mature. His presence filled the house with a kind of comfort that felt strangely calming, almost intoxicating. Days went by. We didn't speak about it again. But something between us had changed. One Saturday afternoon, I walked into the living room. Evan was asleep on the couch. the sunlight shining through the window, casting soft shadows over his chest. His shirt had ridden up slightly, showing a small part of his waist. I stared a little too long. Then he moved. "Hey," he said quietly, blinking up at me. "Didn't mean to wake you," I said quickly. He sat up slowly, rubbing his eyes. "You didn't. I was dreaming." He smiled gently. "About you." My breath caught in my throat. "Evan." He stood up and walked toward me. The room was quiet, except for the soft sound of birds chirping outside. He was near now. Too near. I could feel the warmth of his body reaching mine. "Tell me to stop," he whispered, his voice barely loud enough to hear. I couldn't because I didn't want to. But before anything could happen, the doorbell rang. We both jumped and stepped apart, like teenagers caught doing something they shouldn't. It was our neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, holding a dish of lasagna. "I thought you two might be hungry," she said kindly. The moment passed, but the feeling didn't. That night, I lay in bed thinking about what could have happened. Was I truly lonely? Or was I letting myself drift into something that wasn't meant to be? The next morning, Evan suggested we take a trip. "Let's go somewhere," he said. "Just us. Let's get out of this house." I agreed. Maybe a little too quickly. We drove to a peaceful beach town a few hours away. It was quiet and calm. The place we stayed had a wide porch that wrapped around the house and wooden floors that creaked when we walked. Everything felt like a dream. That evening, we strolled along the shoreline. The sea breeze played with my hair as we walked quietly side by side. At one point, he stopped and turned to face me. "I know this feels wrong," he said. "But when I look at you, I don't see my mother's friend. I see a woman I care about, a woman who deserves to be loved." I looked up at him. The moonlight reflected softly in his eyes. "Then stop calling it wrong," I whispered. He stepped closer and wrapped his arms around me. His hug felt different this time, not out of sadness but something deeper. Longing, desire, understanding. We stood there quietly as the waves crashed in the distance. Back at the inn, I lit a candle in our small room. I didn't know what the night would bring, but I could feel the change in the air. The tension between us had shifted. We didn't say much. We sat close on the bed, shoulders touching, stealing shy glances. Then he gently kissed my shoulder. It was soft, almost by accident, but it sent a shiver through me. "I can't stop thinking about you," he murmured, his voice low and shaky. "You make me feel alive again." I slowly turned to him. "I never thought I'd feel this way. Especially not now. Especially not with me," he finished. I nodded quietly. We didn't rush into anything. But that night, beneath the soft sheets and the warm glow of candlelight, we shared a closeness we never expected. Not in a way that crossed forbidden boundaries, but in a way that filled the empty spaces grief had left inside us. It was emotional, confusing, and beautiful. After that night, we came back home. At first, we didn't talk about what had happened, but everything between us had changed. We started cooking meals together, laughing more freely, and even taking quiet walks during sunset. We weren't trying to replace anyone. We were simply trying to heal. But the world outside wasn't ready for a story like ours. So we kept it just between us, quiet, safe. One day, Evan came home holding a letter. He had been accepted into a postgraduate fellowship program in Chicago. "I want to go," he said. "But I don't want to leave you." "You have to go," I replied, smiling though my throat felt tight. "This is your journey, Evan. I'll be okay." He stepped closer and gently kissed my forehead. "I'll come back. Not as your little boy, but as a man who knows what he wants." As I watched him drive away that afternoon, I felt a strange mix of pride and longing. I wasn't truly alone anymore. Not in my heart, because love had come back into my life. In the most unexpected way. Even if the world couldn't understand it, I knew what I felt was real. A year later, he returned. The moment he stepped through the front door, I knew. He wrapped me in his arms and whispered the words that once surprised me, but now felt like a promise. I still want you, all of you, not as your son, but as the man who knows your heart. And this time I didn't hesitate, because love doesn't always follow the rules. Sometimes it finds you when you're hurting. Sometimes it appears in ways you never imagined. But when it's real, you just know.